Hey everyone, this is Jonathan Marx from GoToHealth. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're talking about hearing and how important hearing is to a normal life. And we're also talking today especially about first responders. I didn't know this, but these statistics are kind of shocking. Up to 80% of long-term law enforcement providers, 45% of EMS providers, and 40% of firefighters face hearing loss on the job. For first responders, hearing isn't just important, it can be the difference between seconds lost and lives saved. Yet exposure to sirens, alarms, and emergency equipment puts them at significantly greater risk of hearing loss than the general workforce. The stakes go beyond daily life. Compromised hearing can reduce situational awareness, slow response times, and disrupt communication with teammates and the public during emergencies. Today, we'll be discussing why hearing care matters for those whose lives depend on what they hear, what every first responder should know about protecting their hearing, and how there's help for those on the front lines. You can learn more by going to hearinglife.com. We'll be talking with Ryan Potter, a doctor of audiology. He's been a hearing care provider for over 18 years. He's vice president of audiology for Hearing Life, and he's leading the continuous growth and education of hearing healthcare providers. So welcome to the show, Ryan Potter. He's a doctor of audiology. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Good. So what does the data show about hearing loss among first responders?
Yeah, there's actually a really high prevalence of hearing loss with first responders. And I know myself, I've seen so many first responders throughout my career. And, as many as 80% of long-term law enforcement, 40% of firefighters, and 45% of EMS providers have hearing loss as a result of the noise exposure they experience while at work each day.
Wow, that's a huge percentage. I mean, what I'm sure it's very critical for people like that, first responders to have good hearing. What's a way for them to protect themselves?
Yeah, so obviously it can be impossible to utilize hearing protection while on the job. And I think that's why we see, these numbers that we're talking about
Mhm.
outside of work. I think it's really important that, for someone that's a first responder, protecting their hearing when they're in recreational activities that could involve noise. So, if they have a hobby, they're a woodworker, or maybe they're a police officer, but they enjoy going to target practice, wearing hearing protection in those environments and making sure that they are protecting their hearing in those situations where they're able. And then I think also being really proactive, getting a baseline hearing evaluation. That's something that most people don't think about. People will do routine things. They'll go for their colonoscopy, their mammogram, but you ask most people when the last time was their hearing was checked, and they just say, I don't know, grade school.
Right. Yes. Good. So I know this is an obvious question, but maybe there's a part of the answer people don't know about. Why is hearing such a critical issue on the job for police, firefighters, and EMS workers?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it does seem so obvious, but for anybody who has hearing loss, what's going on is they're just not hearing conversation clearly. They're just getting bits and pieces. And when that happens, your brain wants to figure it out. It wants the information. It wants to know the message. And so it starts working to figure it out. It starts using any information it can. That takes a lot of effort. That takes a lot of energy that shouldn't be spent on hearing. And it also takes a lot of time. And so that is really critical for first responders. Time is of the essence. And so taking that extra time to piece things together and figure it out, those seconds can matter.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. So what signs of hearing loss should a first responder watch for? I mean, what are early signs before something serious really happens to them?
Yeah, so it's really common. I hear almost the same thing from all of my patients when they sit down across from me. They say, I'm hearing people, I hear conversation, but it's just not clear. I'm not understanding what's being said, or really commonly, everybody around me is mumbling. It just sounds like they're all mumbling. Other things that can start to happen if you find yourself in a group situation and it's really hard to catch the conversation, or when somebody turns away from you and they're still talking and you can't catch it, those
Mhm.
are indicators. And it can progress to a point where people find themselves in situations where there's noise going on around them. At work, a first responder might have a piece of equipment running and they say, gosh, I just really have a hard time every time I'm around that equipment and I need to hear something. Or even socially outside of work, people may say, you know what, I'm going to pass on going to dinner with friends tonight. I'm just going to sit there the whole time. I'm not going to really follow the conversation. So,
Mm.
I'm just going to stay home instead. So huge red flag there, and definitely want to be proactive and get things checked out at that point.
Got it. So, what options are available for first responders looking to take care of their hearing? You mentioned before they really can't wear earplugs during work. So, what options are available for them to protect their hearing?
Yeah. So in terms of protecting their hearing, you just something simple as foam earplugs or the earmuffs when they're around those situations where they can utilize hearing protection. But I think it's really important to just take that first step and seek out an evaluation. At Hearing Life, we offer a complimentary hearing assessment for anyone to just really get that information, figure out where things are in terms of your hearing health. And then if we do identify that there is an issue or concern with your hearing, the good news is that from the majority of people who have hearing loss, hearing aids are great. They're the appropriate course of treatment. And if that is recommended to you, that's definitely something that you should follow through on. For our first responders, one of the things that we're doing at Hearing Life is we're making available a 10% discount on hearing aids. And that's a
Good.
stackable discount on top of any additional promotions that we may have available for our first responders, just really supporting them and getting the hearing help that they need and being able to just do their job and really not miss a beat in that really critical and important work that they're doing.
Good. So let me share again. Ryan has mentioned it, but people can go to hearinglife.com to learn more. Again, that's hearinglife.com. So, Ryan, what inspired you to dedicate your career to hearing care?
Yeah, so I think it's probably a common thing that I would share with a lot of first responders. I wanted to do something to help people. I wanted to be able to make an improvement in somebody's quality of life. And, my career in audiology has definitely allowed me to do that. It's absolutely a gift to go to work every day and be able to do that. And I don't take that for granted. Really early on in my career, I'm going to say maybe my first, second year out of school, I met a friend and she had hearing loss or has hearing loss, for her entire life.
Mm.
And she sought out treatment when she was in her 20s and she had a bad experience. It was not successful. And by the time I met her, she'd lived, 15 years of her adult life, trying to raise a family, struggling, missing out on things with her hearing loss. And fortunately, I was able to fit her with hearing aids. I was able to help her. And really witnessing that life-changing transformation for her, that meant a lot. And it gave me a perspective. And, I took that experience going forward saying, that's not okay. I don't want that to happen to someone else. It's my responsibility to make sure that people get really high quality hearing care. And so that's my personal mission. And that's what we do at Hearing Life as well.
Good. Thank you for sharing that story. That's very inspiring. I mean, really, you just pointed out how important hearing is to our life. And if you can't hear very well, it really cuts out a huge part of life.
For sure.
Good. So, Ryan, is there any question I didn't ask that I should have, or is there a big message you want to leave with people today?
Yeah, I just think it's really important for people to be proactive about their hearing health. Getting that baseline hearing evaluation is so critical. And as you mentioned, if you are listening today, you're saying, you know what, I think maybe that's me, or I haven't had a baseline, go to hearinglife.com. You can find a Hearing Life location near you. And it's as simple as clicking a button and you can schedule an appointment for that evaluation right there on the spot. We've also got additional information there for our first responders regarding that 10% stackable discount. So you can explore that option more and really get the hearing help that you may need just to be able to continue to do the awesome work that you're doing.
Good. Thank you so much for being of such great support to our first responders. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me today, Jonathan.
Good. Again, you can visit hearinglife.com. We've been talking with Ryan Potter. He's a doctor of audiology and has been a hearing care provider for over 18 years. He's vice president of audiology for Hearing Life, leading the continuous growth and education of hearing healthcare providers. This has been Jonathan Marks with GoToHealth. Remember, you can watch us at our website, gotohealthmedia.com. You can listen to us on Spotify or Apple, and you can also watch us on YouTube. And if you like us, please subscribe and please give us a thumbs up or a 5-star review. That helps us get the word out about evidence-based medicine to larger audiences. Thanks so much in advance. This has been Jonathan Marks with GoToHealth, and as we say at the end of every show, Go to Health. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Thank you for tuning in today to Go to Health. You are one of almost 10,000 people per day who enjoy the evidence-based health information offered by our guest health experts. You can watch us on our website and YouTube and listen to us on 8 podcast networks. Be sure to join Jonathan Marks in our upcoming shows each week. If you like our show, please share this episode with your friends and colleagues. You can subscribe to the show, join our email list, send us feedback, browse through the online store, and view our library of over 150 shows at gotohealthmedia.com. See you next time, and remember to elevate your life with Go to Health.